Hello everybody, my name is KingStix and today we're going to be looking at a RAT IRL gameplay. I was looking through his OPGGs and I found a diamond in the rough. This game is much different than his usual game. Normally he snowballs like crazy and carries, so I want to give you a little bit different of a perspective of what happens when he doesn't snowball, and we're going to go over a few of the mistakes and just some things for you to think about when you are playing Twitch jungle. Before we get into it, I want to mention what the team comps are. So the enemy team has an Alawi, Kesa, Cassiopeia, Lucian, and Rakan versus Rat's team, which is Sion himself, Ziggs, Jinx, and Soraka. So you already know that Rat's team is a much stronger team in the late game. We have a real tank over here. On this team, we don't have a true tank. Over here, we have an AoE AD carry who hyperscales. Over here we have Lucian, who's one of the worst late game AD carries. Plus then we have Soraka, who can pocket the Rat or the Jinx. Another thing I want to mention is Soraka took Ignite. That means in your mind, or at least in RAT IRL's mind, he's probably thinking, hey, I want to camp bot. My Soraka took Ignite. It's a Rakan Lucian. They're going to be playing very aggressive. It's a kill lane. One final thing I want to mention about the team comps is Ziggs versus Cassiopeia. In the late game, Ziggs is obviously better, much more range, more damage, more AoE. Also with the Ziggs, he outranges every person on their team, so he can poke them down before a fight and force the enemy team to engage onto this team, which is very good for Sion and the Twitch and Jinx, because if once the enemy teams are forced to engage, they can just open up and shred them apart. This team is much stronger in the late game, so we don't have to do anything too crazy, and we just have to survive and hold our own. Okay, so starting out, you see this a lot with Twitch mains, especially with RAT IRL, is he tries to get as many of his teammates as possible to guard his red buff. Jinx really should be over here right now. She shouldn't be here. She should be over here with them, just in case the enemy team did a 5-man invade. Right now, it's only 4 people, so theoretically, if the enemy team grouped up, they could have came in here and caused some issues, and if Twitch doesn't get his red buff level 1, he's in trouble. But getting at least 4 people is decent, because there's typically one person who's dingleberry and refuses to come. With that being said, let's skip into the future. Alright, and he's going to get a leash from his Sion. Always get a leash from your laner. Soloing red buff is complete shit. I'm surprised Sion was willing to tank the first hit. So he gets a decent leash. He gets some CC. He gets 1 tanked hit. And now this is one thing that I think is really interesting. So after doing red buff, the quickest path is to actually run over here. This is a much quicker path. Straight from red buff to top lane. Instead, he goes from top lane to this area. He's obviously not doing golems, so you know he's going to do a deep lane gank because he's trying to avoid the vision right here. A lot of times enemy top laner will lay a ward, and it can make it more difficult to gank. If they do ward this bush, you need to be invisible by the time you hit this area right here. That way you can walk through. It looks like he was wanting to get off something much more spicy. So yes, he goes through this bush right here to avoid possible vision in here, even though he can go invisible. Let's see what he's up to. Bear in mind, his Sion doesn't have Ignite or Exhaust. This is going to be a difficult kill. They don't have that much pressure. And he's going to try to get as far behind him as he can, which is right. Right now, this gank is actually in a really horrible position. There's no pressure on Alawi to last hit. This minion has at least 3 or 4 more seconds before it dies. Also, right when Twitch ran up, Twitch isn't hardly behind Alawi yet. Twitch is barely behind Alawi, and Sion's already running at Alawi. So look at what Alawi does. She's like, well, I'm not going to walk up. And then immediately she starts walking back. She sees Rat. She sees him. He flashes away. So Rat only gets off 2 autos and an E. That was an extremely failed gank. And what a lot of you might not understand is most enemy junglers start at their red buff, and that means that they'll have worked their way up, most likely doing wolves and then blue and being ready to gank. That's the most standard jungle route for most junglers. Start at bot lane, get a leash, then wolves, then the next buff and gank. Very simple. And in this case, Rat just did red. He took a long time ganking, and it was a very bad gank situation. There's no way they're going to get anything other than his flash. That means Kaysa is going to be somewhere in this area. And as we come to find, skipping forward, she is in the area. And one thing that I found is I've played Rat against Kaysa many times, and she is disgusting. She can 1v1 you like every time in the early and mid game. Not only that, but she beats you in 2v2s. She's just really freaking strong. So as you can see, he just gets absolutely destroyed, and he's still hanging out here. I think he's trying to pick something up. It feels a little greedy. There's nothing to really get here. There's nothing to get here anymore. You've already lost the fight. The best thing he could have done was back off. He lingers, gets off some decent damage, and then they just keep messing around. Like I said, bot lane's a kill lane. They both took Ignite in their early game, and we're going to see how that plays out. So Twitch doesn't have any items. Sion was put in a bad spot since Kaiser's just a stronger 2v2 fighter. So by Twitch being there, it didn't actually help Sion. It actually hurt him because they can't win the 2v2 anyway. So Sion would be better off having Twitch somewhere else on the map at that point. He's coming down to do his blue, which is correct. He's trying to get level 3 so he can get off a much better gank. He does his blue buff, and now he is level 3. Unfortunately, Jinx did die. She got knocked up by Rakan. Twitch was coming to give some support, maybe get a kill over here, but Cassiopeia was shoving Ziggs mid. Instead of this top lane gank, if Rat would have done red, blue into Gromp right about now, he would have been finished with Gromp while Cassiopeia was pushing this wave and he could have ganked her, or he could have been here for this. Lingering this long top on a bad gank situation really hurts you on Twitch, especially when the enemy jungler can out 1v1 you and out 2v2 you, and Kai'Sa is one of those junglers since she is ranged and a little bit stronger base damages than Twitch in the early game. Alright, so Cass flashes on him because she knows his flash is down. Twitch is just too fast when he's invisible, so she actually wasted that pretty hard. At this point, Twitch just needs to focus on getting his Skirmisher Saber, because as it is right now, he's only level 3, so he's levels behind. And without the Skirmisher Saber, people like Lucian and Kai'Sa will just tear him up. He takes too much damage until he gets his tabbies. Okay, so this is a bad situation. It might look like a good situation at first glance. It depends on how fast these two's reaction times are. If this were in low elo, he could probably kill the Lucian before Rakan even reacts, but this is high diamond. This is much higher elo. Also, there's a big minion wave here. In the enemy's minds, they're thinking Soraka's trying to stall out this wave to stop it from hitting the turret, buying time for her own minions while Jinx comes for the bot lane. So right now, the enemies are actually going to be moving towards her to try to get a kill. Rat is trying to get a kill because he thinks Lucian is going to back, and so this is what happens. He opens up on them and things don't turn out well. The reason why things don't turn out well is because they have a fat ass minion wave. So in Rat's mind, he's like, my Soraka's here. Well, first of all, she's She doesn't have her ignite anymore and she doesn't even have E yet. So you're just going to see what happens. He gets opened up on. He probably should have waited to use his E until he had full stacks right here. Until he had one more. He might have gotten the kill, but bottom line was he was fairly desperate. Coming back out of spawn, we see him building straight for a Skirmisher Saber, which is great. He definitely needs it. There's not much he can do right now. The best gank he could make is not against Allow. He doesn't have the damage, and he can't gank bot lane until Soraka has her E. Right now, Soraka took 2 points in her W, and I checked, this is actually his duo, it's Apocalypse. And Apocalypse likes to take 2 points in his W before he actually gets his E. That's something RAT IRL should have known, or at least something that Apocalypse should have communicated to him. Right now, the only thing Twitch can do is farm his jungle, try to get his Skirmisher Saber, and then gank something. Really needs his Skirmisher Saber. So he does his Wolves, his Gromp on his way bot lane. This looks like a really good situation because it's 3v2 and he went through the lane, so he can have a lot of time to set up with his invisibility. If Soraka had E at this point, all she would do would be step up and drop her E right about here. So the enemies wouldn't be able to cast any spells. It would give Jinx more time to turn on them. Also, Jinx is retarded for not throwing out her chompers sooner. She should have thrown out her chompers right now. She's not paying attention. By the time Twitch gets off an auto, she throws out her chompers. It's too late. Soraka has no E because he just refuses to level that at level 3, even when it's clear that they're going to need it in a kill lane like this, I guess. I guess it just works for them usually not to. So Twitch goes down instantly because the enemies got to use all their spells. Jinx was slow to react. And at this point in high elo, the game's basically over. There's a few things worth mentioning that I still want to show you though that can apply to your games. He's level 3. That really sucks, man. Everyone else is around level 6 and 5 right now. Most people are level 6. So he's doing the only thing he can do right now, clearing out his jungle. Thank God. If Kai'Sa was in his jungle right now, he'd be in a lot of trouble. Considering he's behind, Kai'Sa should have been here for this. Coming in for gank the top lane, this isn't possible because Sion would had it shoved in. I guess he didn't see it while he was farming. No, there's no reason to go to a lane that's already pushed before you get there. So you see Sion has a big wave and he's shoving it in. There's no reason to even come over here when you're behind. Now, if Twitch was ahead, that's different. If he was ahead right now, like level 6 with his Blood Razor, he could have came in and they most likely could have dived Alawi if Sion landed both of his CCs. Bot lane's getting dived because Ziggs is getting out pushed by Cassiopeia because Ziggs doesn't have any jungle pressure and has to play safe, because if Ziggs starts to push, Kai'Sa can just come up behind him. That's another issue as a jungler, is if you fall behind, is it puts neutral lanes like mid lane at a disadvantage. Because Ziggs and Cassiopeia were very neutral, they couldn't really kill each other, but Cassiopeia could push because she had jungle pressure and Ziggs didn't. Watch his invisibility timing here. He wants to gank the Alawi, right? He wants to come up and gank this bitch. If Alawi's greedy, she's going to keep chasing after she kills this last minion. Unfortunate for Rat, she doesn't keep chasing, but what I want to say is his invisibility timing. His goal is to kill her, so if this bush is warded right now, it sees him. Look. Now, even if she laid the ward right here where my mouse is, it could see him. He should have been invisible, gone invisible about right here. That way he wouldn't have been seen at all. And he would have still been able to get behind her even with the level 1 invisibility that he has right now. So now if this was warded, Alawi will immediately run away if she's any good. We'll see how she handles it. Okay, so Sion ults and guesses wrong. Alawi was already in the other bush. And of course, this is pink warded. So this doesn't turn out very well. Not only that, but he doesn't quite get in the bush before he becomes visible. You guys may or may not realize this. It's something that I've found out because I've ganked top lane a lot, is if you're going to make it all the way into one of these bushes, it's not possible for this bush not to see you and for you to make it into this bush. For example, doing your Q from here, this bush can already see you. Your cover's already blown if this is warded, so he should have just walked into it or gotten way closer and then activated it, because as it is, you're not going to make it into the bush. And if he had done it back here where this bush couldn't see him if it was warded, then you sure as shit wasn't going to make it into either one of these bushes. And if you don't understand that concept, I don't know what to say. The point is for him to stay invisible and be able to get into one of these bushes. Like I said, if he had waited longer, since he mistimed it anyways, he would have been able to make it into either one of these and allow him not to really know where he is. Unfortunately, there was a pink here, so she most likely wasn't going to come back out anyways. Bot lane's crumbling quite a bit. There is still a chance to do something here with a Ziggs ult and with Twitch being here. It's going to be very difficult though. I'm very surprised Kesa isn't taking any of his jungle. The fact that his blue, Gromp, and red were all up is very shocking to me. Alright, this is another good fight coming up here. Okay, let me break this down for you. What Twitch is waiting on right now, he doesn't go in, which is unfortunate because his turret's basically, it's dead now. What Twitch was waiting for was Jinx to step up a little bit, maybe draw some of their aggro up, or at least draw Rakan to go in. Because if Twitch were to go in right now or a second ago, Rakan would have just dashed to one of his teammates and then knocked him up, and he would have been in a very bad spot. So Twitch is waiting for someone to peel off or someone to step away. What ends up happening is he goes in anyways, even as the turret's going down. No one's peeled off yet. He gets Red Smite off onto Lucian. He does an auto attack W, which is perfect because if you open up with W out of invisibility, there's a long animation for it. But if you come out of invisibility with an auto attack and then W, it's a much faster W animation, and then you can proceed to auto attacking. So you auto attack W's ultis, which is smart. He gets charmed, knocked up, which is very unfortunate. At this point, he's dead. There's no way for him to fight back. The Red Smite is keeping him alive, making him take less damage. If he was fed right now, or if Lucian had a few less kills and Rat had maybe 1 or 2, he probably could have soloed him. Because right here, this is how much health Lucian had. So if Twitch had his Blood Razor right now, Lucian would have probably been dead. So, but then Rakan gives him his shield, so now it looks like he's healthier than he really is. And then he gets a heal. So if Twitch was actually decently fed, or Lucian wasn't insanely fed, Twitch would have actually had that fight right there. And Ziggs at this point is just trolling and split pushing, and that is the game. Very unfortunate. You got to feel bad for him because this ruined his win rate. He still has a 90% win rate in Masters, but he would have had around a 95 if games like this didn't take place. It is unfortunate when one of your teammates chooses to troll before the enemies have taken an inhibitor. If Ziggs had been here when they were taking this, he could have stopped the minions in the first place. He could have landed an ulti on Lucian, which would have saved Rat to begin with, and then they could have kited the Cassiopeia and Rakan. At this point though, Sion and Ziggs are trolling and the game is over. Now I want to re-mention some of the observations I made in this video. The first one is your support took Ignite. The enemy supports are both dash early game champions that rely on getting kills in lane. There's no reason to camp top lane at that point, especially if your top laner isn't a carry top laner. It's just a Sion. It doesn't really matter if he gets ahead. He's going to be a tank regardless of how ahead or behind he is. So the Ignites plus the early game enemy bot lane means you should really be trying to go bot lane, so doing red, blue, Gromp. Second reason for not dilly-dallying in lanes like the top lane is Keizo can easily 1v1 you at level 2 or level 3. She also wins 2v2s at that point in the game, so being somewhere like here and lingering is very dangerous because of her clear speed and her jungle pathing. And that's pretty much it. I only did this video not to say I'm better than him. Rat IRL is obviously a better Twitch jungle. I just wanted to point out some observations and some things I saw that I think could have definitely been done differently and done better. Rat IRL is an amazing Twitch jungle, an amazing jungler in general. He plays more than just Twitch. You should definitely check out his stream at RATIRL_L9. I'll leave down in this description below. In the future, if I do more commentaries on him, I'll pick games where he does better. I felt like this was a bit of a gem since he typically pops off really hard. And that is it, guys. That's going to wrap up this video. If you guys did enjoy and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah.